welcome to another episode of Cornwall Freemasons Lodge in the Lounge Sessions. I'm Sebastian Oakley, the Provincial Communications Officer for the Province of Cornwall, and today I'm delighted to announce 6 complimentary episodes to run alongside our interviews. Now these episodes, each one is contained with a question, which we ask to every interviewee. The first of tonight's episode is, how did you become a Freemason?
I became a Freemason because my grandfather and father were Freemasons, and some of my best friends were Freemasons, and I was curious about it. And after several conversations, I ended up joining St Piran's Lodge in Perranporth.
My uncle was a member, and I'd always had a sort of nagging interest that I wanted to know more about it. I kept dropping him hints, hoping that he would tell me more or invite me to become a member or whatever, but he never did. And move on a few years, and a couple of friends of mine in St Just I knew, and found out they were members, and they proposed me into Mount Sinai Lodge, Penzance. Unfortunately, the secretary then lost my application for about 3.5, 4 years. It wasn't found until he passed away, but I did eventually get in. I later learned that my uncle never ever proposed anyone, so it wasn't a slight against his nephew.
I became a Freemason from the interest when I was a childhood. A couple of my friends' fathers were Freemasons, and I always had that interest to what it was all about and the mystery behind it. It wasn't until my late 20s that I actually found somebody that I had the courage to go up and ask how to get into Freemasonry, and then they basically made it as easy as I probably overthought it a little bit, but they led me through the process to give me information, gave me a DVD with some information from the UGLE website, enabled me to look online about what Freemason really was, and then the rest was history, really.
My father-in-law was a Freemason in Berkshire, and he introduced me to his lodge in Newbury. I was interviewed and balloted in Berkshire, but then moved to Cornwall prior to my initiation. I was subsequently initiated in Cornwall some 12 months after arriving down here. That would have been in 1988.
This was a family issue, really. My father was a Master Mason of Fortitude Lodge, number 131, which met in Truro. Therefore, that makes me a Lewis, which is a son of a Mason.
First introduction to Freemasonry really was through curiosity, intrigue, and perhaps asking questions on my part, and noticing that I had a drinking companion at a local club that I used to visit, a social club, who came in one evening all dressed up with his dinner suit on and his looking pretty smart, followed by 30 or 40 other people. So that sort of intrigued me more, asked more questions, and eventually got invited.
So I joined Trevithick Lodge in Redruth, which was dedicated at that time as an engineer's lodge.
A big thank you to all the brethren that took part in this week's episode. There will be another episode next week. In the meantime, if you have a question you would like answered to our interviewees, please get in touch with the provincial membership team. In the meantime, brethren, stay safe.